Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to the VJ Kyla Show. This week, I have a very special guest. His name is Malik McCray. He's the CEO of Simpliworks. Malik, it's great to have you on the show.
Thank you, VJ. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for joining. And, as you and I spoke earlier, you get bragging rights for the rest of your life since you are my first guest on the VJ Kyla Show. So, super exciting to have you here. So, let's start with tell me about yourself. Tell me about your background, your business. What do you do?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I grew up here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and spent most of my life here. In college, I moved to Raleigh to attend NC State University. Where I studied business administration. I kind of bounced around in majors when I first came in. I actually came in as an accounting major to start. Moved over to marketing, and until I finally landed, in my home in an entrepreneurship concentration. So I graduated there a couple years back in 2019, and was working on my business at the time, doing brick and mortar or digital commerce. Primarily buying from traditional retailers who sold brick and mortar and helping them sell online, specifically through Amazon. And I, continued that venture through graduation, and started working on what I'm working on today at SimplyWorks.
That's amazing. Okay, well, that's a great segue. Tell me about SimplyWorks. What is it?
Absolutely. So SimpleWorks is a one-click promotion platform primarily for micro and small businesses that are looking to sell online, who may not necessarily have the expertise or the resources to hire, an expensive agency or a full marketing team. We kind of bridge that gap for them and allow them to get into the game online, and hopefully sell more products.
Awesome. So, what kind of products does your team work with, or these companies that you try to serve?
Man, it's across the board. Most of the business that we work with are in grocery, gourmet, health products, things like that. We sell some random widgets that sell well. One of the funnier ones we sell is a product. They're crushing it with a single product. It's a toenail fungus remover product. Don't know why, but the market. I guess it's a bigger problem than what you may expect. But that's what's exciting about Amazon is there's so many opportunities, there's so many different needs. So we see a lot of different products that come through our pipeline, over the last couple of years.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay. So, let's back up a little bit. You said while in college, you went through the marketing concentration and then you ended up in entrepreneurship.
Mhm.
Tell me about that leap, or why was
Yeah,
marketing not right for you?
right. Yeah. So it's interesting you asked that. So when I came in to college, my parents conditioned me. You had to go through these types of majors. They immigrated here, my mom at least, from Jamaica, and so she had a conception on like I had to focus on these types of majors, accounting, engineering potentially, so you can be in position for the best type of job. And I agreed with that, and so I started. My decision making was more so based on that, as opposed to some of my passions that I wanted to work on. And so that's where my initial track came. And I was in my mind, I thought, okay, if I study entrepreneurship, and I look for a job after graduation, what business would want to hire an entrepreneur? It seems like they could leave at any point. It seems very risky to take a concentration like that unless you know for sure that you want to, start a business directly after college. And so that was where my hesitancy, began. And I met with one of my counselors at State, and she mentioned, no, it's entrepreneurship. An entrepreneur inside of a business organization was actually pretty high value for a lot of emerging companies and even some of the more established companies. And so that was kind of what gave me the confidence to say, okay, this may be something that I can do that won't be a big mistake if I take a pathway or a path of the least less traveled. And so I guess what, to your question, how was that leap? It felt natural. I had gotten some experience in a lot of different concentrations, different classes and coursework. Entrepreneurship was a culmination of all of them, though, so it was something where it's like I was getting a taste of everything. And I was excited when I first hopped in.
That's great. So let's back up even more, because you talked about how your family and your parents conditioned you. Hey, you should go to college, get a job. When did you realize yourself that you had this kind of desire to become an entrepreneurship? Because speaking with a lot of people, it seems like it's not ingrained in most people. In fact, majority of people are terrified of it. So at what point
Mm.
we're like, hey, this is actually kind of exciting.
Right, right, absolutely. So, and they condition that because your parents always want what's best for you, you know. So it's not as if they didn't believe in what I wanted to work on or anything of that nature. It's just that they want to put you in the best position to be successful. And I didn't realize earlier actually more until I dove into entrepreneurship in college, that entrepreneurial bug came from an earlier age. You know, I started my first business at 9 years old. You know, was I started a car wash. It was local, and you know, me and my brother, we printed out some flyers, had our pictures on it, you know, and needed some upfront capital just to get the supplies to clean cars. And you know, so we were saving up our allowance, and we bought our first shop vac or the vacuum cleaner for it indoors, and you know, kind of borrowed some cleaning supplies from my dad's garage. And we sat out door to door. Hey, we have a car wash. You know, we'd love to clean your car. This is what we're doing. And, you know, that was my first introduction to entrepreneurship. And you know, ever since then, it's just been project here, project there, and eventually started to get a little groove, I like to think.
I love it. So with that car wash, because I mean, I love those small
Hmm.
businesses, like the initial spark, right? It's like, hey,
Hmm.
how are we getting introduced into this? What was the reason you decided to do that at 9 years old instead of finding other ways to make money? Or like most 9 year olds aren't even thinking about money.
My parents didn't give me a large enough allowance. I wanted more candy.
Okay, well that's incredible, man. So
Mhm.
did your parents? I assume they were supportive of this venture at 9 years old.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, they encouraged it. You know, and that's what you know I was mentioning there. It's like they encouraged it. You know, it was a great start for us. We didn't realize it was entrepreneurship. We literally just wanted, you know, more candy, more things, and my brother and I were able to do it together.
That's amazing. As you were, I guess, graduating college, or I remember working with you in the library a few days. I know you were there 24/7, but a few days you were working on your business. I was doing my own thing. And during that time, did you feel any pushback from parents or society or friends, or do you felt very encouraged that you were following that path?
Absolutely. You know, it's the deeper level pushback, you know, so that was kind of one of the things that I experienced is like, you know, people would, oh, yeah, absolutely, go get them. It's so exciting, you know, but in a sense is, you know, there is some doubt as well, as, you know, is that the best path for him, you know, those types of things. And so I've always felt that, you know, and that's natural. You know, I think for, especially for aspiring entrepreneurs, you know, it's a scary path to go down. You know, people admire it to an extent, but they're also very fearful of that. You know, because a lot of entrepreneurs, you know, don't make it in the beginning or on their first try or their second try, and so you're going to always see that. Have more confidence in yourself is one of the things that I would say is because you're the only one that knows if you're cut out for it, and you have to be willing to take that path and take that journey and see what you can do.
I love that. That's extremely insightful. How many businesses did you have before you started SimplyWorks?
It's a good question. So, projects, I did a lot of different projects, you know, and also the great thing about university is that you're in these ecosystems, you know, so someone may invite you to help with an app and you're involved with an app development, you know, but for my venture, the first one I started in college was with my partner actually today. We had a biodegradable tech accessory business. We designed these, you know, started with phone cases, was made from bioplastics and this beautiful coconut palm wood and had a great, mission behind it as well. And so we were able to bring that from idea to prototype. We didn't actually move forward with the production mode. It was another learning experience as those things are expensive. Sometimes there's some startup costs that you have to maybe think about or consider before, you know, you go too deep. But we didn't move that product to market, but it was an entry point to my next venture where I was wholesaling and retailing products, as I mentioned before. And so it was two ventures before SimplyWorks that inevitably led to SimplyWorks today.
Okay, so the biodegradable phone cases, right? That's what you're talking about. And then what was the other one?
It was the wholesale arbitrage business. So I was essentially buying goods from US manufacturers and then I was reselling them one by one through Amazon.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I
Mhm.
remember talking about that with you as well. And so using both of those, Is that how Simplyworks got formed, or is this a completely different
Mhm.
space?
Yeah, it was that was the inception of SimpleWorks. I was actually taking the dollars I was making from the retail business at the time, and I instead of doubling down on that, I reinvested it into the software, which became very pricey, but it took a while to build. And the learnings from that experience, helping businesses sell, is what was able to, kind of give me the tool set or initial background to work on SimplyWorks.
I love that. Okay. Is there something that, let's say you were to start Simplyworks again, because you've been working on this for a
Mhm.
few years. The
Mhm.
learning curve was, I'm sure, exponential. If you were to redo something, is there something you would change?
Yes, I would, if I were thinking about it, and this was something that they teach in university, but most entrepreneurs don't want to do it. Is more customer discovery. It's going to save you a lot more time and understanding by having those interviews, having those conversations up front. And seeing, okay, is there a validated need, and do you really understand the problem, the pain point, before you go into deep into building and developing. That's one lesson that I probably would have done a little bit more of. We eventually found our target customer, but we maybe would have saved more time if we did a little bit more of that upfront market research before diving, headfirst into the deep end.
That's, I think, so important. Could you give us an example of customer research or the discovery phase?
Right. Yeah. So it's and they'll say you need to talk to 100 customers academically, and but what is more so you want to do is you want to validate, a concept that was recently mentioned to me called authentic demand. And I really like it because what it's talking about is it's saying not just someone that, a family member says, great idea, of course you'll make it. But someone that's saying, no, I need this right now. This is solving my immediate problem right now. Where can I buy? And even if you don't have a product yet, someone that is willing to sign up for a wait list or willing to stay informed or update it because that problem is so genuine and urgent for them to solve. Find that first is what I'd recommend for us aspiring entrepreneurs and startups because that's going to be the proof of concept or the validation that you need. Okay, this is real. It's not just my gut or my family or friends or my first three connections that want to see the best out of me. It's more so, no, the market needs this product or service.
That makes sense. I've like, there's one way of going about it where you can go just ask people whether they need it or not, but the real proof is, do they actually pay for it, right?
Right. That's right. That's exactly right.
So how would you go about getting a demo or some sort of prototype developed before spending too much
Mhm.
money and time? Have you were you in that stage? Are you currently there? Are you way past it, or where are you right now?
Right. So your first question is, how to go about getting a purchase, without a product or to early stages of that. I think in the beginning, you don't want to build too much and expend too much resources and time before you validate the market demand. And so that's where these conversations become more important because you can ask them, are you willing to pay for this? If I were to deliver you this product, would you pay for this, and how much would you pay? And of course that's not a transaction, but at least it's a step there and always have a follow-up next step for them. Okay, great. The product's not ready at this point. Can you sign? Here's a link to sign up for our wait list. And one thing you'll find is when you send them that link, do they actually go to that link and sign up? Because I want to be informed in 2 months, 3 months, whenever the product's ready, because at that time I may be ready to be a customer. But in the earlier stages, if you're looking to build a prototype, some products are a little bit more difficult to demonstrate without having something tangible. You have to be scrappy with that. An MVP, proof of concept. Sometimes you're doing things that look pretty, and we were doing this in the beginning. It looks pretty on the front end, but you're doing a lot of muscle on the back end to make it work and figure it out. Sometimes that's necessary. So it's the best advice I could have there is just be scrappy, find a way to get something that's tangible or that someone can feel, and that's going to allow you to at least get an initial proof of concept.
That's amazing. Going back to a previous question, I asked if there was something you'd do again. You said more customer discovery. Now let's flip
Mhm.
it. What is something that you knew worked up so well that you would always do it for every business you work on in the future?
That's a good question. Sales, sales. I think that an entrepreneur needs to have an element, an ability to sell themselves, sell their ideas, sell other people, and especially for technical founders out there, it can be, and introverts like, it can be difficult to be willing to have those conversations. But if you want to get to that next step, you have to develop a foundation or an understanding of how to drive sales, how to inspire people, how to motivate people. If there's one thing that in every business is going to need, unless you're a solopreneur, you're going to need that ability to sell. And I would recommend to read up, get their experiences, get out of your comfort zone, and try your hardest to develop that skill set.
Great answer. So there's a reason you're an entrepreneur. There's a reason you're being successful at it. And I'm sure some of it attribute to some of your habits. Could you talk about some of your habits or if you have habits? Because I'm just making a assumption right here.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Habits are important, and maintaining them as well. One of the things that I like to do is I like to get up a bit earlier, between 5 and 5:30 a.m., stick to a morning routine. So I can get in the groove of things before the day gets started and before the day wakes up. Before the birds are chirping, you can get a lot of tasks, out of the way before there's a demand on your time and attention, etc. So doing a little bit of meditation as well in the mornings, some light workouts, nothing too heavy, but just to get the blood flowing. Cold showers as well is one of tip that my partner recommended to me, and it's tough sometimes, but it's actually has some health benefits as well to do those early in the morning. And I read every day as well, so 30 minutes. Try to get to 52 books a year, which is difficult, but I'm still working up towards that so far this year.
Those are amazing habits. If there's one book you think every entrepreneur should read, what book is it?
I would say Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's the starter pack. I'm not going to be the only one that makes that recommendation, but it gives a foundation of what it's like to be an entrepreneur. And it's relatable for a lot of people, and it survives the test of time, which is an important element. So it's not just in present, but will continue to exist and be relevant for years to come.
I love that. Great book. Is there a piece of advice? Do you have a piece of advice for someone who's interested in entrepreneurship but hasn't taken the leap yet that would help them take that leap?
Take the leap.
Oh, okay. Just take the leap.
Take the leap. Take the leap. Stop talking about it. Just do it. And no one can move for you. So I'm not the type that believes that your motivation has to come internally. And if you really want to be an entrepreneur, do something. It doesn't necessarily have to be you have to build a hugely successful business on your first swing, but take that first step. And that first step could be as simple as talking to a professor that is in the space of what you're working on or what you're interested in. Reaching out to someone that you've never spoken to before, and ask them about their business experiences. Take the first step to doing something, and that's is what's going to set the train off.
Absolutely. Great. Well, Malik, it was great having you on our show. Where can our audience get in touch with you?
Absolutely. LinkedIn, Malik McCray, MalikMcCray. Definitely reach out. I respond quickly. As well, you can visit us at simplyworks.io if you're interested in selling online, or if you have a product currently, it's as easy as one click.
Malik, it was a pleasure having you on our show. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you. We'll talk soon.